So, in comparison to the rest of the STFs, our Bioteny STF is in charge of sort of taking action towards relieving the stress of staff and students here in bioscience. And some of the things that we have caused, well, you can tell the projects.
So currently our biggest intervention right now is creating a community garden for all the students here at Bio. Any of them.
In comparison to the rest of the STFs, our Bioteny STF is in charge of sort of taking action towards relieving the stress of staff and students here in bioscience.
Hi, I'm Anthony Fairbanks.
And I'm Katie Goldberg.
And we are part of the STF called Water Conservation.
Basically makes this different than other projects is that, you know, we are in a desert, we do use a lot of water, and I don't think a lot of people really think about it. So what we're trying to do with our STF is teach other people that there are different ways of conserving water than one might think. Like most water usage goes to outdoor use, so one of our possible interventions for the future is teaching people how to use less water when they're outside and doing gardening. What different landscaping there is. Wow, I could not think of the word. Yeah, and so we're teaming up with several different groups, and we've gone to a couple of workshops where they've taught us different ways to garden.
So my passion with this STF was more about, so even though my STF is about water conservation, my own household is pretty bad at it. We tend to use a lot of outdoor water usage, which is kind of like the majority of water wasted here in Arizona. And so kind of having that kind of landscape in my front yard, backyard, and just kind of seeing my entire neighborhood with this, I've grown to notice that it's a problem and something that I kind of want to fix. And it's just something I'm more or less grown on.
Yeah, no, my neighborhood does not do the same thing. It says we're all rocks. Yeah. There's literally no grass in my neighborhood. So how I got into it was last year when we did our STF, we did something that probably wasn't the smartest idea. And so I stuck with the group and it just kind of evolved into this. My original passion was I wanted to make a difference with the pollution and all of that, but now it's just like trying to get people informed about how they can save water. Yeah.
So currently our biggest intervention right now is creating a community garden for all the students here at Bio. Any of them can sign up to help like water the plants, take care of them, and even make contributions to like decide what we should grow, and whatever is grown in the garden goes back to the students. They can take some home, or they can just like give it to the school.
Mm-hmm. Another project that we have currently been working on is giving succulents to each of the staff members here in Bioscience High School. Most of the staff are going to be involved with this STF project, and essentially we are trying to measure how stressful their day is and if this tiny little plant that they are personally raising and caring for will help relieve that stress, essentially. My passion, personally, it comes from ever since I was little. I used to live in Colorado for some time, and here in Arizona there's not a lot of vegetation, or at least it doesn't seem like it, besides the cacti that are here and all that stuff. But really that did inspire me ever since I was living in Colorado, and I wanted to share that part with my fellow peers.
What got me passionate about this is that a few of my family members have had their own gardens or have had experience growing things. And I remember when I was little, I would look at sunflowers whenever my parents took me to Home Depot, and I thought, I want to grow something like that. So I did. I planted sunflowers right outside my room, and I just really liked seeing them outside my window, and it made me feel happy that I was able to grow something like that.
So our idea mainly to be accomplished in Bioteny is just to at least help people realize that, you know, their lives aren't going to be stressful forever, or just because stress really can harm your body, your mental state, and whatnot. And there's always a way to relieve it, either through manual labor or through taking care of plants, and or even just having your own garden. We want to educate people that there are more options out there.
Similar interventions.
And
Boom, right there, done. Okay, let's get
So one of the reasons that we chose to combine our STFs is because they had very similar topics.
So kind of like our ending goal was to just try to inform the students, the staff, people that we kind of know and that we can try to affect into getting to be more water conscious and to try to conserve water better. So I think the reason more or less why we tried to combine our STFs was mainly because the interventions were about the same. For us, the one way that we can get people to conserve water in a more friendly way is by changing the one way that the households spend the most amount of water, which is outdoor usage. So by doing so, we can change their lawn to like a desert kind of landscape, which is reducing the amount of water needed to keep up the plants, the intake, and it still keeps the yard looking nice.
Along with that, we have chose some of our projects to kind of go based off of their topic as well. For example, the one involving the Bioscience High School staff, we chose certain plants that are very hardy to the winter and they're hardy for the summer, and they don't require a lot of care, basically, because they do originate from either the Arizona desert or from the New Mexico desert.
Water conservation as a group already has a bunch of different problems that they already have to face. One of those problems being is that people aren't very receptive of the information that's around them. We see all the time that there are these seminars, there's all these different information that people have access to, but they don't take the opportunity to understand it. The city of Phoenix has these different resources and they love to hand them out. And it's not just to help them, but it also helps the people lower their water bill, so it's effective for both causes.
Basically, our STF we combined with Selma and Stephanie, and so their STF is about how gardening reduces stress, and ours is about how the gardening saves water in Arizona. So, first question is, what do you tend to worry about?
Money. I'm going to college soon, so that's the biggest priority I have right now.
Just money?
How to further my education, and basically because I'm broke, money.
Personally, I tend to worry about having a lot on my plate, whether it's school, personal life, internship, having all these things to worry about and trying to finish them, get them complete.
Usually, if I don't have enough time to be able to do everything I plan out throughout the day, or if I'm not doing well in school, it really depends on how the day goes. Usually it just raises throughout the whole day.
How do you manage your stress?
It's hard to say. I would have to say usually bottle it in. There's occasional hobbies I do, hang out with friends and stuff. But one of my favorite things to do is just go outside. I spend a lot of time in my backyard, just sitting there, and it does help. It helps with stress.
For the most part, I prioritize what I actually need to do and want to do the most. I prioritize between the colleges I need to get into, the colleges I want to get into, and the fund, basically how my support me going to that college in of itself. So scholarships, if they have full 100% need met and stuff like that, I prioritize looking at those, and according to such things, I look at which ones would be the best option.
Okay. How aware are you about the water usage in Arizona?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Absolutely nothing.
How surprising would it be for you to hear that we use over 300 gallons of water a day, even though we are in a drought, and that water usage is all on outdoor landscaping.
Wow. Surprising. For such an, like, the fact that outside landscaping, or just a decorative form of gardening, in my opinion, it's surprising since I believe not many houses use this, because most of the houses are barren up front with rocks or gravel, while most select.
Well, usually if I'm really stressed out, I just like keep things to myself, or I just go for a walk, drink water, refresh my mind. But sometimes whenever it's really bad, I end up having to take medicine that was prescribed, but because sometimes it does really get bad.
What are your thoughts on water usage, and are there any solutions to it?
Well, I actually do see that Arizona does use a good amount of water, given that we're a desert state. Maybe kind of limiting who can use water, maybe like for drinking or for what kind of things. Maybe even putting up a tax for it. Like if you're using water of an excessive amount, maybe you have a tax for it. Therefore limiting how much water is wasted.
And lastly, what are your thoughts on water usage in Arizona?
I mean, I think it's something important, being as though the Arizona, well, Phoenix is very hot, and seeing as though, like, sometimes we don't have all this access to water that we need, and I guess it's something that people need to take care of, and people need to be, like, conscious of, and be better at handling and not wasting it.
Are there any solutions to high water usage?
Maybe if there was some sort of like limit, or if there was some more outreach to like the community on how to better manage themselves and how to reduce the waste of water.
Thank you.
Companies and places that are like well off are the ones that are using it the most.
Yeah, what you're talking about right there with the rocks and gravel is called xeriscaping. It is a form where they use rocks, basically.
Yeah,
and Arizona, like, plants, desert plants, in order to grow nice-looking yards still without using water. Lots of water. Okay, next question. Have you had any personal experiences with a garden?
I'm in Green Shovel.
So am I, so.
So yeah, I am helping them I help them build the garden, the wooden boxes, and I'm helping them manage the money because I'm the treasurer. So
That's right, you were in the pictures.
yeah.
Okay, to you, what is a garden, or how do you think most people in Arizona tend to their garden?
To me, a garden can be anything that is growing, or how do I say this? Because not everything in a garden grows, but not everything in a garden has to be like vegetation and stuff like that. Like a garden is somewhere you go to relax.
Well, have you heard about how gardening can decrease stress?
Yes, through Green Shovel, through Green Shovel, the other members in there. I don't know how to say it.
Friends.
Yeah, friends. I was gonna say accomplices, but that's not right.
Friends.
What's it called? Teammates. There we go.
Yeah.
Teammates.
Work co-workers,
Yeah,
etc.
co-workers. It's
God.
But yes, I have. Through Green Shovel, my teammates, the president and vice president, have informed me that their project is to reduce stress through gardening.
Yeah, and that's who we're teaming
Yep.
I'm also gonna, interview like 3 other people, so I'm hoping their answers will not be as like, oh yes, I've heard all about this. Would you be willing to learn how xeriscape gardening decreases stress in a more ecologically sustainable way?
Yes. It seems like less trouble to maintain than just like a vegetation, because having less plants and like more self-sustaining plants would be easier to maintain and would require less attention, in my opinion, and time is not something I have most of the time. So
I agree. I have no time. Would you like to attend a gardening or informative workshop that like basically teaches you how much water goes into gardening and a better way to do gardening? And how Arizona is working to save water? No?
honestly, too many interviews. But do you want me to say yes?
No.
Okay.
You don't have to say it.
But I know someone who'd be very interested in this. So I have myself. I have like little time. Don't want to.
Honestly, we're going to be hosting it after the documentary is over because we were supposed to do it beforehand. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
So we're going to advertise it to people who are watching the documentary.
Okay. Tell Ivan. Ivan is working with his garden right now, and he's trying to manage the water usage in his garden because he has a really big garden with lots of trees, but he's trying to create a garden in the center. And managing the water has always been an issue for him, so this might be really helpful for him.
Okay. Well, thank you, Laura. Helpful. I'm so surprised that this is just going to fall over like 3 times.
Katie.
We have a loser watching us. Are you done?
No, I have to grow. There we go.
19.
Yeah.